What's going on, folks? Happy Wednesday. It's Mike Singer and Tim Hyde with a new live show. Yeah, we're back. It's felt like a while since we've been live on YouTube, but it's just been a week. It's been a long week. Tim, I hope you're well, my friend. How are you?
I'm doing really good. Ready to talk some Notre Dame football. One more day closer to spring, and finally start getting some real football. This is like always such a lull, and from the bowl game to now, we did it last year. It was craziness. This year, it's like, is there a coach change since we've last
Yeah,
like texted an hour
Brian
ago?
Mason.
It's like I know Mason. I'm just like, my gosh, is it ever going to let up? Is the staff finalized? Are we ready to go? It's what a whirlwind it's been, right?
Since Freeman took over, it's been a whirlwind. Yeah.
It's been wild. Yeah, it's been a wild 14, 15 months, whatever the heck it's been. But it's been good content, right? It's been exciting shows and a lot of good dialogue.
I'm thinking back to last April or so, Tim, when Notre Dame schedules Tennessee State. We spent I think we had like 2 or 3 videos on that, and Notre Dame, playing an FCS school and an HBCU. Like they're like pregame mass being a thing. Like there's always something.
Yep.
Like that was last year. It's like, man, there's nothing to talk about. Freeman just gives us these things, that we can discuss. But today we do have a good bit. I think like an hour before we started recording, the media was wrapping up interviews with the local media. Or excuse me, the coaches were wrapping up with the local media. At least the 2 new ones, Gino Guidugli and Joe Rudolph, as well as like 9 newcomers on the offensive side of the ball, the incoming transfers and early enrollees at the high school level. So we'll talk about just a little bit from that, some of the notable quotes from that. We got Isaiah Foskey made some interesting comments about NIL and if he would have picked Notre Dame, in an NIL era. Some interesting stuff from that. Scouting combine, we'll touch on that a little bit. And then some recruiting topics as well. So get in the comments, drop super chats if you want us to address anything. Andrew says, love the show /board. Hey, get on our loose emoji message board. $29.99 gets you access to the start of the football season. Andrew says, can't watch live, but would love for Tim to break down the O-line targets. Lucky for you, Andrew, it's on the docket for us to talk about the 3 offered 2024 offensive linemen that we know about who are coming in this spring. So we will hopefully discuss that. It's our schedule to be our last topic of the show, so you know how this can go. I still got a couple articles to write tonight and some video work to do. So we'll see if we get there. I can't go too late tonight. But if not, Andrew, I promise we will get to that next week. But really do appreciate the super chats. Sean says, Singer tried calling in Always Irish Anonymous. I don't know what you're talking about, Sean. My wife's been out of town. I had nothing to do on Friday night. May or may not have called in to Always Irish. John's a friend.
Was that the scuttlebutt I saw on the message board? And all right.
Yeah.
I have to get on Mr. YouTube and look for that then. All right.
This is what I do when I'm living as a bachelor. Joey says, yeah, folks, please do hit the thumbs up on this video. I agree, Joey. Yeah, folks, please do hit the thumbs up. Really does support us more than you know. Subscribe to our YouTube channel so you don't miss any content. And for folks watching back via podcast, always would recommend going and watching on YouTube live or the replay. Always get the good visual. Get to see this pretty face of mine and then Tim's fantastic head of hair.
Yeah. Speaking of that, real quick, Mike, before we get rolling here, you got a haircut comment. I got needs to get a comb. I get a haircut and I don't get any love a week ago. So, I went and got one. The people were saying I needed to cut my hair. I went and cut it.
Well, this is my burner account that Berkshire is commenting from. So that was actually me. All right. So yeah, let's dive into it. I thought this was probably the most interesting comment, Tim.
Sure.
This is a tweet from Tyler Hork. I'll read it for podcast audience. Quote from Guidugli: Tyler Buckner isn't going to take a back seat to anybody, end quote. Horka continues to tweet. Guidugli says he fully expects Buckner to compete with Sam Hartman for the starting quarterback job. What's your initial reaction? Tim Hyde is shaking his head and chuckling. What's up, Tim? Yeah, Nathan says, real quick, Mike. Yeah, real quick.
Yeah, exactly. Isn't this what we talked about? How we're going to have the most amazing coaching cliches. We're going to get this awesome competition. guys are going to be going full blow. Oh, it's unbelievable. Sam Hartman's going to take the ball against Navy. So that's just my humble opinion. We had an amazing talk last week. We could get into, the philosophical, because I'm more of building and trying to build the Notre Dame program. And I fully understand the Sam Hartman thing. When when you broke the news he was going to be more than likely coming in the Gator Bowl, was the first thing I said, and it made Mike Goolsby upset. He's a starting quarterback. He is. He's a starting quarterback. All of this fluff about a competition, it's going to look good on paper. It's going to look good on Twitter. Sam Hartman's going to start. That's just my humble opinion. No matter what I believe about competition and all that, I fully expect him to be the guy. That's just my take. As much as I think Buckner and the other guys, I would love to have seen them play this year as Freeman keeps preparing his program for down the road. Hartman's here. He's going to play.
Yeah, to be fair, I did not break that news. That would have been sweet. But yeah, that was.
We talked about it.
Yeah, we talked about it. Yeah. Tim, I'm interested because now I have you without Goolsby. Goolsby was on our show the past couple of weeks and it was great. We got folks always saying, where's Goolsby for this week's show? Look, I mean, this is the Singer and Hyde show. We got the Singer and Goolsby show. Just sorry that you guys have to get so much a Singer. But I'm interested, Tim, now that it's just me and you. Goolsby sometimes watches these or listens back to podcasts when he's, working the biceps. But you don't really believe all that, Tim, do you? I mean, come on.
My thing is the building, is the program building, and
win a national championship with Sam Hartman. There you go. That's a building.
If it happens, great. Well, we'll get a nice banner, put it in the man cave, and it'll look great. And Notre Dame could finally put something on the, play like a champion sign. It'd be awesome. I don't think this is a national championship football team, so I think all of that talk is a little interesting to begin with. That's just my opinion when looking at the roster and looking at a few positions. Because to win the national championship, you're probably going to have to beat two SEC football teams. So you have to build a roster to beat those guys. And I don't think this 23 team has. And then my bottom line, which I talked about a ton last week, is I just truly believe making that 2024 is vital. I do. The playoffs.
I can't with the and for next year. Tim, you don't know. A pandemic could happen next year. Like, give me what's here and now. The building thing is a secondary thing, but right now is the number one priority. And I'm a little surprised.
And I get it.
I'm just a little surprised that you went, look, Goolsby, love the man to death. His bias is showing with the Buckner stuff. He loves Tyler Buckner, and I think that is kind of influencing his judgment. For you, I was just a little surprised.
Because, well, like I said, my whole point, Sam Hartman's here. He's the quarterback. That's a no-brainer. But my whole thing is about just down the road. I want Freeman to have success down the road. And I mentioned the hamster reel. I mentioned the recruiting.
Yeah.
It's something will happen, and if not,
you know what they should do?
Then I'm wrong. But hold on, Mike.
Okay.
I mean, you're already talking about 2025 quarterbacks are already planning or setting up visits in March and April. And that's why I said last week, who cares? Because seriously, who really cares about quarterback? If my odds are they're going to have to get another quarterback next year, because the reason why Hartman's here is because Marcus Freeman does not believe the quarterbacks, Buckner and Jelly Minchie, could play in 2023. If he thought they could play, they would be playing them. He does not think they could play.
But that doesn't mean don't recruit high school quarterbacks anymore, because maybe one of them will play.
Exactly. One of them eventually down the road. And someone on the message board I was chatting with today was like, well, by 2025, Minchie, Carr. I'm like, okay, so now you're asking Minchie to sit on the bench for 3 years, then get a eventually something has to break with this Notre Dame quarterbacking.
You're kind of acting. Gosh, I want to move on with the show, but it's such a good
no, I love it.
But you're acting like Notre Dame's just been playing transfer quarterbacks. Like, I mean, Book started for years. They recruited You had Cone. Buckner was going to be the guy.
I mean, Cone was a necessity. They had to have Cone. They only had two quarterbacks. You only had Pine and Buckner. They had to get Jack Cone. We talked ad nauseum about that when he came aboard. I was all for that. Goolsby did not like that. Me and you. It was a smart move, and Jack Cohn had a heck of a football season. Now you have 3 on the roster.
But Hartman's not a smart move.
Hartman is a damn good quarterback. He is a very good quarterback. He's an outstanding quarterback. I don't think he's a bum at all. He's a really good quarterback. But they have 3 on the roster. So Freeman doesn't think none of them could play this year, but they can play next year.
If you have 3, 16, or 20. All right, let me ask you this, Tim. Who would you rather have in a playoff game this season, Hartman or Buckner?
Oh, I mean, Sam Hartman is the better quarterback.
Then stop. So I just don't like the. But
this is my take. He is the better quarterback. He is going to be the quarterback this year. I will not argue that at all. Like there is this competition, and Buckner is going to have 50-50 shot. I don't think he is. Sam Hartman is the better quarterback. But at the end of spring, now if he leaves, is Steve Angeli truly going to be a number 2?
But you can't base.
But Freeman doesn't think he's a number 2 because he brought in a quarterback to make him the number 3.
I hear all these things, but you can't now say because of this, Buckner, I think, should start this season.
I didn't say Buckner should start this season. Ever since Hartman's come aboard, I always said he is starting.
Okay, then you don't think Notre Dame should have taken Buckner? Or, excuse me, Hartman?
I think long term, I don't understand why they did.
To play the best quarterback they could get on the field for the season.
Then there you go. Then why didn't they do it last year?
I think, Tim, I thought they should have.
Exactly. Exactly. So they're in the same position 2 years in a row, and they didn't do it last year. They did it this year. Next year, they're going to have to do it again next year. They are. There's no way are they going to play those guys next year. They're not.
Dude, if they can get a quarterback of the caliber, Sam Hartman, every single year as in the transfer portal, 1-year rentals every year, I'm fine with it. Keep bringing them in, bro. Keep bringing them in. Like, dude, that's at least me. Maybe one of them can be like a grand transfer with 2 years. You know, now you're talking a little bit more stability. But this is college football, guys. I mean, you're there for, I guess now you can have 6th and 7th year guys, but traditionally 4 or 5 years. It's a lot of people moving in and out, the coaching staff moving in and out. It's all about 2023 for me. So, but anyways, we did have more tweets to get to, but I will give you a true 30, Tim,
sure,
if you want to talk anything else on this.
No, that's fine. I mean, we had a great talk last week, and Hartman is the quarterback. That is my prediction. That is my take. He is the quarterback. We're going to talk about Sam Hartman more this year than we will Tyler Buckner. 10 seconds, I'm done.
All right, Tim, I'm proud of you. I do need to get our producer Trey to give me if he can have like a little a Tim Hyde timer. How about that? Tim Hyde timer. Rick says you need to let a QB get experience, otherwise you get in a perpetual cycle of transfers like we are now. I'll tell you, Rick, if Notre Dame wins a playoff game this year, you're not going to care. Not going to care. I do think that Notre Dame needs to bench Joe Alt because he's not going to play next year. I think that's. I mean, because you got to break in the left tackle, right? I mean, come on. You know, like, obviously I'm joking, poking at Tim a little bit. Like, I think part of college football is that just like, I know Buckner played a little bit as a freshman, but you step into a starting role and you didn't play at all or a little bit just the year before. Like, that's how it goes. I'm fine with it.
And it's happened tons in Notre Dame's history where they've had a guy just play a couple mop-up minutes and he's the guy the next year. It's happened. It's happened. I mean, you don't have to have 10 games of backup experience. I get all that.
Yeah,
I truly do. It's happened historically, but it's just interesting how they brought one in this year. They have quarterbacks with experience. Freeman went to them after the USC game and just said, hey, I'm bringing in a guy that – he obviously did that knowing someone's going to transfer. So he wanted to clean out the room somehow. And it happened. Pine left, boom. And then, we are where we are. So obviously he had a plan in mind because my humble opinion, he doesn't think the quarterbacks at Notre Dame could win games for him. That's my honest opinion. And those are the same ones that are going to be on the roster next year. And we'll see what happens.
I did text him, and I will say that, when between Goolsby, myself, and Tim, All right. No, I should say when I talk to Tim and Goolsby, because I know you two will just talk Notre Dame. You guys will do your chit chat
Oh,
over
we've been
the
doing it every night watching
You
old
guys
football.
chit chat over text message all the
Yeah.
time. If I talk to Tim or Goolsby, it's really just about business. Like, hey, we're setting up the show. What are the topics? I did text Tim. I was like, bro, you serious? Like, are you really on this? And I usually don't do that. Talk, too much work outside of work. But you guys know what I'm saying. But yeah, Tim, I was just, I don't know, a little surprised. But all right, let's move along.
But I'm a program guy. I want to build the program.
We got to move on. Speaking of,
I just hope this does not ruin something somehow.
Yeah, bringing in Sam Hartman will ruin something. I don't know.
I mean, Sam Hartman's not he's not Jalen Hurts transferring. He's not, Caleb Williams. Let's keep that in mind as well. He's not this be all that, he didn't dominate, and just win games all by himself at Wake Forest. Now he's a good quarterback. He's not some.
Yeah,
but come on, if he's a dude, Mike, he's been playing college for 5 years. If he's a dude, he'd been at the combine last week.
Yeah, but Jalen Hurts
about that as well.
Jalen Hurts was at Alabama and
Caleb
Williams is at Oklahoma. We're talking about Wake frickin' Forest.
True. And if he was a legitimate dude, and this is what Goolsby's talked about a million times, if he was a legitimate dude, he's in the NFL and he's not.
Yeah.
He's a good college quarterback who's playing a 6th year of college.
Tim Tebow is the greatest quarterback of my lifetime.
He
he stunk in the pros. I mean, so I don't love that.
He's playing the 6-year college
and pros are different. All right, here we go. Patrick Angle tweets, Gino Guidugli was complimentary of Notre Dame's offensive structure under Tommy Rees. Quote, we're not going to deviate too much. My first thought when I saw this was, I mean, it's college football. What do you think Guidugli's going to run? A triple option? I mean, they're going to throw to the tight ends. They're going to run the football. They're going to play to the strengths. So it's my understanding, Tim, that I think a lot of the terminology is going to change. But it's football in 2023. I had someone ask me the other day on the message board.
Real quick, you said it is going to change? Freeman is changing terminology. He's having them change it?
I think so. I think so. Yes, I think some of the terminology is going to change. But I had someone ask me the other day, like, I don't know if they were asking about Parker or Guidugli, but like when asking about one of them, do they like, or what kind of style of quarterback do they like? We're not in an age anymore where it's like, I want to recruit a pro style quarterback, or I want to recruit a dual threat. You got to be able to do it all.
Yeah.
Right, Tim? I mean, you're going to have some guys who are much more on one side of it or the other, like a Cone
Hartman
statue, or a Buckner who's questionable throwing the ball downfield, but is very mobile. But for the most part, recruiting, you're just going after the best quarterback. Tall, short, runner, like you're just going after the best quarterback you can get. That's my opinion. I say all this to go back to the tweet. They're gonna line up under the center, shotgun, they're gonna throw the tight end. I mean, they're just gonna run a modern offense. I don't think there's too much reinventing of the wheel. Am I crazy here, Tim, or is that kind of how you see it?
Yeah, no, I agree. It's like, I mean, people keep talking about this. Oh, these guys got to learn all that. It's inside, outside zone. Notre Dame runs a bunch of deep duo. Is that something that Joe Rudolph likes? Or Wisconsin just ran so much stretch, and they're a big pin and pull team, pulling bodies at Wisconsin. Is Rudolph bringing that? It's football. Notre Dame doesn't have the personnel to go 4 or 5 wides 90% of the time. They're not going to snap the ball in 18 seconds, which was Bob Stoops' thing at Oklahoma.
So you're saying maybe some of the offensive line, techniques, what they do there might change a little bit. So that's a good coach's point.
I would definitely say so, because Joe Rudolph's had great success doing some things, and I wouldn't be surprised if they do some different things running the ball. That I wouldn't be certain. It's still a lot of the same run plays that your basic teams do, but Notre Dame is tight end you, so you're going to have a tight end, so you're going to do that. I don't see them being as much 12 personnel, because the second and third tight end at Notre Dame are huge question marks. They are, Evans, and then it's some injured dudes you hope that get back. So that's why I truly believe they're going to be a true spread, 11 personnel, 3 wides, 90% of the time this year. And that's just your basic standard pro set offense, when you watch the NFL.
Yeah, it's not like where college is doing one thing and NFL's doing the other, like
Yeah.
it's all kind of the same.
Yeah,
All
I
right.
mean, they may, run some QB runs. Hartman 2 years ago had a lot of success running the ball. Last year he didn't because he had that liver injury or that internal bleeding that caused him to miss camp in the first game last year. But he's very athletic, and then obviously Buckner could run around like crazy if he had to and get in there. So, yeah, I don't see them changing and going crazy. Football, run and shoot, things of that nature.
No
Doesn't suit
more
him.
more kudos to my haircut. I mean, I'll have to text Amy,
I love it.
yeah, I'll have to text my haircut lady and say, "Hey, you did an amazing job." Okay. When a side argument from me, maybe not an argument, just a point about the whole Buckner Hartman discussion
I
was
love it.
one of my sources told me that Hartman coming in was the best thing for Tyler Buckner's career, whether he knows it or not. Because and Goolsby, I think, kind of chuckled at me. And you did, I don't remember what your reaction was, but like that Buckner's going to get to learn from a pro. And when I say pro, I don't mean an actual NFL quarterback yet.
Oh, a guy who's been around.
A guy who's been around. I really do think that if Buckner kind of is serious about, not that I'm not trying to,
Sure.
say that he wouldn't be serious about it, but like if Buckner like really does like, all right, I'm going to learn from this guy. Like I'm going to compete for sure. But if I'm QB2, I'm going to embrace it and stick it out. I think Buckner, that could set him up for a really good 2024. Now, does learning from Trump, playing experience, I can't tell the future on that, but that's what my source told me. I was like, hey, this is going to be such a good thing for Buckner and Minchie and Jelly, Paulus. I thought this was interesting along those lines. Sam Hartman quote on Tyler Buckner. Again, these guys have just known each other, or been in the football program together for a couple
6 years.
months.
Yeah.
The quote is, "We're like best friends." That's Hartman on Buckner. Hartman, this is continuing the tweet from Blue and Gold's Patrick Angle. Hartman said they trained together before and will train together during spring break. This is what I'm talking about. Like that's good stuff. Like this is good stuff for Tyler Buckner. So best case scenario, Tim, Hartman does well this season, kills it. Buckner stays, is fantastic for 2024. And then you got 2023 and 2024 are just rocking for Notre Dame at the quarterback position. Your thoughts, Tim?
No, I love that. I mean, that's a great quote right there. The fact that they are, to me, that says a lot about Tyler Buckner. That's also going back to him and Drew Pine. You always heard about how those two guys were best buddies, hung out all the time, were really close, a lot of trust, and, we're always helping each other and whatnot. I heard, Pine was communicating like crazy during Buckner during the bowl prep and obviously afterwards, tell him congrats and all that stuff. So I think that says also a lot about Tyler Buckner, his family, his upbringing, type of character that he is. And you read between the lines. I'm dying to see when Tyler talks during spring ball, which I'm sure he'll have a chance to talk. Is you get the sense, going to what Mr. Mike Singer's saying, like he's buying in. He's fully planning on being here in 24. And if that's the case, then that is great. That's great for Notre Dame. It is. If Buckner's here, because if Buckner leaves after this spring, it's going to be a mess because then you got Angeli and Minchie as the twos battling for twos. So I hope Buckner stays. I think he's a very good quarterback. He's had some raw deals, no doubt about it. Damn, but when he plays, he could play. And I truly hope he's bought in. And that quote sounds very, very positive moving forward.
All right, good stuff there. That's going through some of the key kind of tweets that that our Blue and Gold staff posted on social media.
Anything from Rudolph? Nothing yet.
I talked to Horka. We recorded a video.
Okay.
I mean, maybe a half hour before we started recording, Tim.
Yeah, I know
we'll have that tomorrow.
Gotcha.
And of course, all those stories. I think they talked to 10 or 11 guys. So we'll have plenty of content from that on our website, blueandgold.com. Plus, we'll have a few of them on our YouTube channel tomorrow. And we'll have like a reaction video where I talked to Horka, recorded that tonight, and we'll post that tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just to end on that, I just really want to hear what I want to hear from Drake Bowen how baseball is going. I know he's on.
He talks a lot about baseball.
Okay.
So that will be out. So yeah, blueandgold.com. Definitely head to the website to check that out. Tim, I will let you take a quick breather while I pay some bills here from our friends over at Rogue Shop. Yes, this is our husband and wife outfit. Mr. Rogue and his wife Shar are craft cannabis farmers who specialize in small batch sustainable plant medicine. It is a true holistic type of small business. Head to their websites, rogueshop.com, ROGU shop.com. They sell everything, folks. CBD, THC edibles, tinctures, smokables, bath salts, pain creams, topicals, vapes, candles, soaps, and more. Hop on the live chat feature on the website and talk to Shar. She will answer any questions you have. Please head to the website rogueshop.com if you have issues sleeping, chronic pain, anxiety, stress, any of those kind of issues, and you can use promo code blue and gold for 10% off your order. Again, that is promo code blue and gold for 10% off your order. All right, Mr. Hyde, bringing you back in, talk a little bit more Notre Dame football. And kind of the headliner of the show is a comment from Isaiah Foskey. This is from the Combine. He says, quote, I feel like I wouldn't have gone to Notre Dame if there was NIL when I was coming into college. It would have been pretty hard to go there and stay there given the amount of money other schools are throwing around. So that's what Mr. Foskey had to say. And this is per an article in the San Francisco Chronicle. Of course, he's from Northern California. He also said in the article, the price difference was so big, I wouldn't know what to do. There's so much pressure on the player and his family. You can make NIL money when you're at Notre Dame. You just have to work for it. So, he also said, or it also said in the article, something to the effect of, and I kind of agree with this, like you can make some good NIL money when you get to Notre Dame. But from everything I've been told, and I mentioned this in the article from the San Francisco Chronicle, Notre Dame's not buying recruits. Like it's not come here and you're going to get NIL money for signing here. It's as a bribe, basically. So interesting comments. And then he did tweet, I believe this was Monday. In a recent interview, my words were taken completely out of context. Let me be clear about one thing. I am proud to be a Notre Dame man and could not imagine playing anywhere else. #love thee with a shamrock emoji. Okay, Tim. So my thoughts on this is he said one thing in an interview, he tweeted it out, that, hey, my words are taken out of context. I'm not going to cast stone at, either of these people. I want to look at the bigger picture of this, Tim. Like, is this a real thing that Notre Dame is battling with on the recruiting trail? Like, kids are not going to Notre Dame because they can get money right now elsewhere. Did we see that in the 2023 class? I absolutely think so. I've been saying for NIL has been around for coming on 2 years now. I've been saying I think NIL is the worst thing that could happen to Notre Dame. It's really good when you're there. If you're a star at Notre Dame, you're making a lot of money, right? But in recruiting, it's tough if school A is offering you 6 figures or whatever to sign there. Whether or not you're getting that money is a different discussion, but they're offering that or, saying that, hey, if you come here, we'll give you this, and Notre Dame's not. If I love Notre Dame's coaches and the program, I also love this school, but this school's giving me 100 G's and this school's not. Where are you going?
Yeah, my first take when I saw the Foskey thing was, is he saying that because he's at the Combine as if he's being recruited today? Because when he was recruited, he was, your typical 4-star ranked in the 200s. He wasn't some national recruit everyone was banging the door down. You want to talk about silent commit. He's probably silent commit for like 6 months to Notre Dame. And then, he's one of the last ones to commit in that class, waited for his season to finish at De La Salle. So that was the first thing I thought about. Like, what are you talking about? He probably wouldn't have been a huge NIL guy to begin with. But Yeah, I mean, just to be honest, if he's putting himself back in, then they're not throwing dollars all over him. The money's going to quarterbacks and some of the high-end 5-star
He said
athletic
oh, you're
type.
talking about as a recruit?
Yeah. As a recruit, I'm talking about if he was a recruit coming out of 2019 and name, image, likeness was around. So yeah, he wasn't going to be getting millions of dollars. He wasn't that highly ranked to do that. And as you know, not every single recruit is getting $400,000, $200,000. It's not. It's not. It is a select few that are, and the quarterbacks are making it bigger than it is.
I think a lot of it's promises. I don't think a lot
It's
of these guys
huge
are getting their money.
promises. There's guys. The Athletic had a great interview during the All American Bowl or the one down in Florida, where they interviewed like 15 guys, and 10 of them were like, yeah, they talk about it, but we got no contracts. There's nothing coming up front. I think the media makes a huge thing about it because it's a cool topic to talk about. There are people getting money up front, sure. But is it hurt? Is it costing Notre Dame? Sure, it probably did with a couple guys, let's be brutally honest, it did. But they still signed good football players. No,
But
they're still gonna get 25 dudes every single year.
but if I said out there, who do you like to or just our audience listening, who do you think Notre Dame lost because of NIL? And I say that in the comments, people are going to drop their names and they're going to say three. I'm going to see three names recur over and over again: Dante Moore, Keelan Keeley, Peyton Bowen.
And I'll say two. For me, I may be the only soul on earth that believes this, but I still believe Keeley went to Alabama because it's Alabama.
But let's just say Notre Dame lost two of those three, or one of those.
We can use all three just to make.
We're talking program changers, right? I mean, maybe not a safety, but safety's not. It's hard to have just a crazy impact as a safety. Kyle Hamilton went out against North Carolina. The Irish defense was fantastic.
Yeah.
But pass rusher and quarterback.
Okay, and then I like to look at those as okay. Keeley went to Alabama. He didn't go to South Carolina. He went to Alabama. So he chose Alabama over Notre Dame. I'm sorry. How do you fault a guy? He's in the South.
I'm not fault. I'm just saying.
No, and I'm not faulting. I'm not saying you are. I'm just saying in general. So when you're like, oh, people like, oh, money cost him. He went to Alabama. He went to Alabama. And with Dante Moore, yeah, there's no doubt. He shopped around. His dad saw the cash that was being flown around to a bunch of other quarterbacks that were out there. He's going to UCLA and Chip Kelly, which, Dorian, Thompson Robinson, whatever, DTR, excuse me. He leaves, played 4 years. Dante Moore probably thinks he could go do the same thing in 4 years and do it. So, at the end of the day, is that something that lit him up to go to UCLA? UCLA is not throwing out millions of dollars of cash. They're not. So that he went to the best program for him at the end of the day when he really looked at it. And let's be honest, with Dante Moore, we could talk about that. CJ Carr is probably the main reason why he started to drift away, correct? As we get back into that. I know it's that whole rabbit hole you start going down when you start talking about
chicken or the egg, Tim.
And that whole March, April period with those two. So I hear you.
Yeah, I swear each time I ask sources about what the heck happened there, I get a different answer.
The money's real, but they still got Jeremiah Love. They still got a huge SEC tailback. They still got some guys because it is Notre Dame. So it's not they didn't go out there and just get a bunch of nobodies. They still got some darn good football players that did get offers from other schools.
Yeah,
And
I had I got a comment here from Domer Wop saying Jaden Rashada.
Yeah.
That's definitely an example of
what's he getting now? Zero.
He went to Florida to and he was supposed to get a lot of money, and then he didn't get it, and he gets out of his NLI. Yeah. Not NLI. He didn't get his NIL, so he got out of his NLI. So
now he's going to Arizona State, and their program is like show up. Yeah, exactly. But now he's going there and he wants to make money. You got to go do the endorsements and do it like the Notre Dame guys are. So, but that's going back to, the Notre Dame guys are obviously making money. They are. They're making money. They have the fund. Every single player on the team is getting a stipend from what's being reported, and their major league dudes are making cash. So it can be done at Notre Dame. And I don't know. Let the SEC fight over it. And as I've said, 99% of these guys that are making all these deals, Notre Dame's not recruiting, right? The majority of these guys, as you know, Mike. So
yeah, couple comments. Jake Hart says Mike's got that Dolphins case shining. Yeah, my brother just FaceTimed me, so I popped up my phone to show him what I was doing, and hung up on him. Yeah, big Dolphins fan. Still not sure about Tua. I don't know. I love him, and then I'm like, I'm not sure. But
they should have brought in a free agent then and just take over, right?
Instead of developing?
Yeah.
Damn, I mean, the pros are so much different than college. That's a silly argument. I know you don't.
They should have brought one in.
I mean, if you're going to start Tyler Buckner, I mean, you have a maximum. If you start him as a true freshman, you got 4 years with him. That's it. Tua could be a starting quarterback for 15 years. I mean, it's totally different. But
hey, someone mentioned Buckner in the red shirt. He did get a red shirt last year.
Yeah,
he did get a red shirt.
So yeah, he's got 4 years then, right?
3, because he was part of the COVID.
I can't remember what the COVID year was.
I hate it. Yeah.
Drunk Vigo says Singer still celebrating that 7-0 win. Liverpool's 7-0 win against Manchester United is equivalent to like Notre Dame blanking USC or Michigan. Let's say Michigan 49-0. Can you imagine if Notre Dame blanked Michigan 49-0?
Oh, they beat them, 31-0 and 14, and that was like awesome. So it was
31-14. Yeah.
Well, it was really 38. They took a pick 6 away for a penalty the last play of the game. So
7-0. I mean, it's like marriage day, marriage day. What the hell's wrong with you? Wedding. It's like, wedding, first show with Tim Hyde, Liverpool 7, Man United 0. Appreciate the comment.
That's a soccer beatdown there.
I work with a Man United fan, and I'm still not allowed to talk to her about it. She's too salty about it. All right, I did want to mention real quick, Todd Berlage is he's been a regular guest on our show. I should call him a guest. He's longtime writer for Blue and Gold. He's been with Blue and Gold for close to 2 decades. His wife tragically passed away, Tracy. Had some post-surgery complications. Tracy and Todd are married for 22 years and have 3 beautiful children together. Just yesterday morning, my other coworker, Michelle Hamilton, who does a lot of our advertising, or all of our advertising, set up this GoFundMe, and this is less than 24 hours, already $3,400 raised. I know it's a lot of it is Notre Dame fans. So, I mean, just supporting that family right now. You guys have been amazing for our folks watching Blue and Gold, in our message board. So if you want to, donate, you can see the URL up there, GoFundMe.com/F/Berlage family-support. So $3,400 raised in 48 donations as we record this so far. Notre Dame fans, you guys have been absolutely amazing. I just wanted to mention that. That was not something I was told to do, but Todd is just an amazing dude. Like,
great guy, great writer. I've been reading him for
You've been
reading as long as he's been with Blue and Gold, exactly. And condolences to Todd. I can imagine. So Hardt, seriously, when I saw that, I was just like, wow, that blew me away. Just to lose your wife that suddenly like that. So just, hope all's well, Todd. And Notre Dame people out there, love you, and been reading you forever. And big time condolences, man. Really, that was powerful to read yesterday.
Yeah. 3 people that I've worked with that I just wish I could work with more people like that. Tim Hyde. Tim, you're up there, bro. You're not number 1. This is in reverse order. Tim Hyde. If I could work with 5 Tim Hydes, that'd be the best. Tim Hyde is the best person to work with. Todd Berlage, and of course, Loose Emoji. Like just my 3, like just best teammates. Just like people, like your foxhole guys, right? Like just these are the people that I want to work with. Low ego, high output people. Like that's what I'm all about. Tim Hyde, you're definitely in there.
Yeah, definitely low ego. People sometimes get upset with me, and I'm like, man, I just love talking. It's like, I don't go and attack.
The thing is, hey, Tim, can you help me with something? Every single time, yes.
If you need it, yeah.
Todd, Lou, Can you post a link in the chat? Yes, I think
Yeah.
so. I don't know if you guys will be able to click on it or exactly how that works, but let me go ahead and do that. So hopefully that works. So there it is.
Cut and paste it.
There it is. Yeah, cut and paste. Okay, so I'm going to be honest with you, Tim. I don't care about the NFL Combine. I will see a couple
I'm
tweets. I
fine.
won't watch the Combine. I watch the first round of the draft. I usually don't watch it afterwards. I don't know. Not a huge. This isn't really my area. But
Yeah.
you wanted to talk about it, so let's talk about it a little
Yeah.
bit.
It
Some of
was
the
just
Combine results. I'll give you a true 30 on each of these. Any thoughts on?
Mayer was outstanding. I saw some the guy for Pro Football Focus posted some comparable numbers with other tight ends. He was just doing blind, things because people thought, oh, he didn't have a good combine. He had an outstanding combine. And you go with that with his film and the program he's played for and the stats he's put up for 3 years. Yeah, Mayer. He solidified himself to be, probably that first tight end, middle round guy. Foskey was solid, outstanding numbers. Once again, the thing with Foskey is, his film. Sometimes he disappears and then he shows up and whatnot. Goolsby talks about Foskey all the time about pass rush moves. He needs to really develop some at the next level. But I thought he had an outstanding combine. It's probably going to be a solidified. He probably locked in a good, solid second round, which a ton of Notre Dame D linemen have gone as of late. So that's good for him. Patterson, he's a Notre Dame lineman. He's going to get drafted, Mike, and play for 10 years. What's the odds of that? Pretty high. So, Patterson's going to be drafted probably third round, like so many other, Hainsey and some of those guys, and just be a center guard for the next decade. Joseph, I was never a fan of his, so he was at the bottom of a lot of rankings, which is not shocking. I was more surprised he got invited. I thought Tariq Bracy obviously had a heck of a last 2 years, and how he did not get a nod to go over Joseph. That's the biggest surprise for me. But outside of that, the Adamiola twins will probably be free agents. Lug will probably be a free agent.
Did you talk Foskey?
Yeah, Foskey, yeah, he's going to be a second. He's got to be a second rounder. He's got too much just natural ability and length and explosiveness, all that stuff. How's a team not going to be able to find a spot for that guy? Plus, he's going to be a special team demon, outstanding special team player at Notre Dame. So, Foskey's going to be that.
That's something sneaky about Notre Dame, Tim, is that so many starters play special teams that makes them so much more valuable to the NFL.
Exactly.
You got two players who are equal. One plays special teams, one doesn't. It's a nice little feather in the cap.
Exactly. He's been a captain, obviously the program leader in sacks, but special teams. I think teams, when they talk about him and they watch film, they're like, yeah, but he could play every single special teams for us in the NFL, which with the limited roster, it's a huge thing. So I wouldn't be surprised if he's a second rounder. I'd go Mayer first, him second, Patterson that third, fourth round, and probably the rest of the guys probably going to be free agents is what I would, guess just off the top of my head.
He ran a 4.58 40. That's fast as heck for a 6'5", 265-pounder. Running a 4.58, and that's tied for ninth out of 28 DNs.
Yeah, but
what the hell do these guys get fed, Tim?
Yeah, but the DNs, we're talking, that's another thing. Someone broke these downs into like weights. And you got a lot of 235ers, a lot of 240 guys hauling butt. It's like guys that are 265 like him. Someone posted on Twitter, which I had no idea. I'm like you, I don't study all these things. He is literally the same exact numbers as Clowney. When Clowney came out and went, number one, the same numbers, arm length, width, 40 speed, the 20s, all this stuff, literally to a T, the same as Clowney, which I thought was just fascinating. So I see him being a solid second rounder. If he slips into that late first, it's because of his special teams and the things that he will bring to a locker room. Because you're going to be solid with him for 4 years, which is what the standard contract rookies get. Yeah, I was looking at this. It's like, look at so many of these numbers are like so close to each other, or right in the same little marker and whatnot. Which look at the 3 cone. It's like, what is that? One step away. It's like it is the shuttle. Yeah, it's fascinating
Hmm.
because Clowney, obviously, when you think of Clowney, you just think of this freak of nature, you know. But look at the height, look at the weight. They're right there. He
Interesting.
didn't bench, which was interesting.
All right.
That's,
Recruiting
that's, our,
time.
that's our combine breakdown, and you know, hope everyone has
We
a good time.
we have some time for recruiting. So, Tim, I don't know if you saw my video with Darren Pritchett the other day, but I kind of went on a little rant, as I tend to do,
I did not see this
about
one.
rankings. Right? We love ranting about
I missed
ranking.
that one. I saw
Okay.
your other one about a few of the other guys.
So, if CJ Carr gets dropped in rankings, or any Notre Dame commit for that matter, and you get pissed, and you're like, man, these rankings suck. Or whether it's on 24/7 Rivals, any of the websites, someone drops a Notre Dame guy, and you're like, man, or that the rankings just way too low. That's the worst. This website sucks. They hate Notre Dame. Okay, so you have that stance. You also can't then be mad when Notre Dame's offering lower ranked players, because you already have acknowledged that the rankings suck.
Yeah.
So now you can't use them as a baseline for evaluating your player, right? It's got to be one or the other, if that's kind of how you're going to be. Or I said in the video, Darren, or you can be like me and just kind of be like, 3-star, 4-star, 5, whatever, top 200. I'll just kind of look at it as a data point. You can look at the offer list, you look at the rankings. You got to consider the kind of offense they played in or defense they played in. What's just the upside, where they kind of got all this. Someone at a school I used to cover back in the day once told me, these college coaches and recruiting office guys are detectives. Like, it's so much more than just watching a huddle or looking at a rankings. There's a lot to it. So I say all this to kind of bring us into our next topic. Notre Dame's been offering some lower ranked guys, or I'm writing articles. They're trending for some lower ranked guys. And first of all, signing day is in 9 months. Let's calm down. There's a lot of things to be happy here, whether it's Notre Dame actually getting all your high ranked guys, or those lower ranked guys getting bumped up and the higher ranked guys right now getting bumped down. So much can happen. But Tim, as I'm thinking here, you got Isaiah Canyon, you got Kennedy Urlacher. I'm just kind of thinking of some of the guys who are unranked or lower ranked off the top of my head, who I think Notre Dame's, in decent shape for.
The Pennsylvania kid, the linebacker.
I got Isaiah Canyon, Kennedy Urlacher, Davis Andrews, Cole Sullivan, and Cameron Clark. That's just off the top of my head.
Yeah.
Notre Dame, I think, is a leader or co-leader for all of them. I think they land Urlacher from this group for sure. I like Notre Dame to land Canyon. I think they got a good shot with Andrews. My coworker Kyle Kelly logged a prediction for Notre Dame to land Cole Sullivan, and then Cameron Clark, just at campus this past weekend. I think Notre Dame leads for him. So, any thoughts on this whole discussion, Tim?
Yeah, it's fascinating because people lose their mind. Oh my God, it's like, just watch the film. Seriously, just watch the film. Some of these dudes can flat out play. And that's going back to when Powers was on. Just there's constant guys coming on the scene that, well, we didn't know about this guy 6 months ago. We didn't know about this guy. We didn't know about this guy. This guy was a part-timer as a sophomore, and boom, he's all region as a junior. We just got his film in December. We haven't met as a group to put him in the system, so to speak. That's kind of like Clark and a few of the others guys that didn't have rankings months ago. Keelan Keeley was like that, for crying out loud. No one ever heard of him when Notre Dame was recruiting him. He was a 0 star, and then obviously he just slowly worked his way up. So some of these dudes are just legit. They really are. You watch the Clark guy, the Tennessee guy, and you're like, my God, that guy's explosive. You've been all over Andrews before the show started. I really haven't watched him. I'm watching his film. I'm like, this kid's outstanding. He's just an athlete that you want on the field. I mean, there's 100 of guys who played at Notre Dame that are just as good as him that could play. So the wide receiver, I've only seen a little bit of him. He's just tall.
Pop it on Cameron Clark's tape, too.
Yeah. Clark is just like, just power and speed. He reminds me of the guy they got this year, Mukum. They pulled away from Stanford, just explosive, off the ball. And this guy shows the same. Look at that change of direction and just relentlessness. And it's the whole highlight of this. It's just nonstop. So, you watch these guys and you're like, is there really 75 other D linemen that are here playing tight end, wide receiver? That's the way I start looking at some of these guys, and just start looking at their rankings. Like, really, there's 50 better linebackers than so and so.
There probably there maybe is or isn't. Like,
yes, I know that. That's what when I look at the
like, man, these rankings are so subjective. No shit.
Just watch.
Yeah, no, I mean, just watch the film. I mean, and here's another thing: if Notre Dame were to sit around and be like,
oh yeah,
this guy's a no star, let's not offer him. Like, how good would they be at their job? Or this guy's a 3-star. It's not going to look good for our recruiting. If Marcus Freeman's sitting around thinking we need to recruit so we can get a good recruiting ranking, then that he should be fired right now. Like, they're not doing that. So it's not.
This guy's going to come rush the passer, yet he could catch fades like it's going out of style. All right, linemen are not good at catching fades. The guy could go catch. Yeah, there's some of these guys Mike could flat out play, and there's a lot of them are D linemen. I'd love to chat about that when we have a shot, because a lot of them are D linemen too that are just some freaks. Same with this guy. Isn't this from Stuckey's high school or his
area?
His area?
Same area, yeah.
Yeah, he's same thing. I just when you posted about him the other day, I just watched the
quarterback.
15 minutes. Yeah, he's just another athlete. I mean, look at Hillman. No one ever heard of Hillman. He ends up being a consensus 150-ish type player this year, because it's just when people really start diving into his film, they're like, all right, this guy's very athletic. And then his senior film is just freakish. I mean, he looks like an SEC football player on his senior film. So, this goes back to, I mean, so many of these rankings are done so crazy early. It's going, because it's the early signing period, the rush to just get everything in, get commits in so early. That's going back to what I think, what is it, Horka, I think, wrote this week, or maybe it was Kelly, Kyle, who's new on the staff, was talking about where's Notre Dame stand compared to last year. Yeah, because people are freaking out. They don't have 15 commits, and I'm like, me personally, I like it because I think they're expanding their net and they're just taking their time with so many guys, still evaluating so many good football players. To me, that shows outstanding recruiting department is really what it does, because they just constantly are just finding more players, evaluating players, communicating with players, and going back to that name, image, likeness, seeing those guys are going to fit the Notre Dame model. And that is vital for Notre Dame football.
Yeah. One more thing on this, when Power talked about on our show, I think it was really interesting. Just like when they start ranking like the 2025 class, right?
Yeah.
I think they've already put out 100 players have received 4-star rankings without like a national grade yet for On3.
Mm-hmm.
When you rank early, you have such a small pool of players. Like there are plenty of programs have offered plenty of 2025s, but not like programs have offered 2024. So but then it continues to grow. Like Isaiah Canyon 3 or 4 weeks ago had 0 offers, right? So you add him to the receiver pool. So now he's the number 66 receiver in the country, and someone dropped because he was so the more you add to the pool, the more guys drop. Like that's kind of just how it goes. So CJ Carr was, like every website I'm as a borderline 5-star guy, if not a 5-star or whatever. And then, you learn about more quarterbacks, and, some of these analysts, some of them like him more than Carr. And that's the different debate. But
we could argue that, because don't get me into this. He's the 12th best one in the country, but that's
but here's the thing. This is what I'll say. And I've said this many times. I disagree with it. I do. Yeah. But I can't say that of the guys ranked 1 through 11, I've watched any of their full games. Maybe that's not true. Maybe I've seen one of them in person. I don't know. But, I know he told me he watched, I think, 5 or 6 full games of CJ Carr last year. I didn't even watch 5 or 6 full games of CJ Carr last year. So I can disagree with him, but the guys put in his homework.
I get that, but he didn't have 5 or 6 bad games last year, and his stats don't prove that. His numbers don't prove that. His team doesn't prove that. That's I think a lot of the people's argument.
I'm guessing the top 11 quarterbacks are very similar in that. I mean, it's splitting hairs. I mean, these guys are all elite.
Yeah, I get you. There's a handful though. CJ Carr being number 12 is
I agree. There's one in particular that I've seen 2 or 3 times in person, including one at Notre Dame for Irish Invasion last year. I'm like,
yeah, that guy's ahead of him. Yeah.
I'm like, bro, what? But all I ask is that, the scouting people, they bust their ass and they're working. And, when I was at Rivals, I respected I respected their position that ranking is impossible and no one's going to be happy unless everyone's the number 1 player in the country. But otherwise, but I will be honest with you on these on 3 guys. I would not go out of my way saying this stuff if I didn't truly believe it. I would just kind of keep my mouth shut. But I do respect their process. But
there's a lot of good guys out there. A lot of guys. I mean, these rankings are going to move 1,000 times. It's crazy. But yeah, I would not be paranoid with some of the how recruiting's going. People think Notre Dame's being a little slow or lazy or not working hard enough. They've got, I mean, my gosh, they have so many visits lined up, all positions coming up in the next few months. I mean, it's going to be a whirlwind here in the next couple of weeks, going all the way through April. And then the spring games, the 22nd, I believe.
Yep.
And every coach is going to be on the road Monday, the 24th. They're going to be on the road, and they can be on the road until the last day of May. And those guys are going to be out there. So I don't think, I would relax with commitments for a while. That's just me. I mean, they have so many offers out there. They can be kind of picky in a way with so many of these guys they're on, especially defensive line. It's like they have so many guys that are high on Notre Dame. It's like they will be they're going to have to turn away some dudes this year. Especially at linebacker.
Always works itself out. No.
You don't think so? I hope.
There's always going to be guys that Notre Dame feels like they're in good shape for, and you guys like me reporting that, and then it's not the case. And it's just linebacker is one that I feel decent about. But I got the pick in for Kingston. Maybe Sullivan, Peyton Pierce.
I'm curious,
but I could see Notre Dame losing out on all 3 of those guys too.
But yeah. And your Urlacher one's the interesting one because that guy, I watch his film.
Safety for now. Safety.
Yeah. He's gonna be an outside linebacker. That guy's just too violent. He's too violent.
He's got it in his blood. His dad's freaking Brian Urlacher.
Yeah. He's gonna be 225 pounds playing outside linebacker here in the next couple of years. That guy that's his film. But there's another guy, Mike, that was like, why are they offering Urlacher? No one's offered him but Arizona. Watch his film. The dude will knock you into the next day. He is no fear and can fly to the football.
Yeah, Domer Wop says rankings are always suspect. I agree. I mean, any rankings. I mean, power rankings. Let's rank the best NFL teams from 1 to 32. I mean, any rankings are gonna have. I always love seeing someone post on like Instagram or Twitter a rankings list, and you just scroll in the comments. Everyone's pissed. This is just the biggest piece of garbage. You should be fired. This is criminal. So-and-so is criminally underrated. I'm like, touch grass. Like, go outside, smell the air. Like, you need a life, some of you people. Who I'm probably pissing off because you're probably watching my show. So maybe go touch grass while watching the Notre Dame football show on Blue and Gold. Maybe you do both. Rick Palmer, appreciate you donating to the GoFundMe. I just had that pulled up and hit the F5 on that. So that's pretty cool. You guys seriously are awesome with that. Please do support my friend and coworker, Todd Berlage. His wife, Tracy, passed away and dropped the GoFundMe in the chat a little bit ago. Tim, this is a great show. Tim, I'm going to trust you to jot this down.
I was going to say, we didn't get to the super chat. Let's do that. Let's get into O-line, D-line next week.
We're going to talk about that next week.
Definitely.
Andrew, I appreciate the super chat from earlier. Tim's got it jotted down. We're going to talk about it. So yes, that's on the to-do list. We're going to talk about who was it? Andrew Sprague, Caleb Brewer, and Kevin Haywood. 3 guys were visiting campus. And then maybe by next Wednesday we'll have more to talk about as well. Maybe some more offensive linemen who are confirmed to be visiting.
And I want to get into D-line recruiting because that
Oh
is
my gosh, Tim.
I want to get into this.
I don't.
Can't wait. I can't wait.
I don't want to talk about D-line recruiting because that board's, in my opinion, just a mess. There's so many guys. They've offered like 40 D linemen or something.
We're not going to talk about all of them. I want to get into. I think it's a lot better than people are being led to believe. So,
all right, they've offered 19 edges and 17 defensive linemen. So that's 36.
And probably 5 more in the last hour.
And then there's a few more who are athletes.
Athletes, yeah.
Like a Cameron Clark.
Isn't Bryce Young an athlete?
Bryce Young's listed as an athlete in Cameron Clark, so that's 38.
Cameron Clark, yeah.
And then you're gonna have some who are listed as linebackers, but Notre Dame's recruiting as like a Viper. So it's probably right around 40 who they've offered. Yes. And I do think. All right, we'll save it for next week.
Yeah, because it's a great topic, and definitely with Coach Rudolph and changing some of the offensive line, I think he's got. I mean, they're already changing some things since Harry, right? They've already thrown out offers since Harry retired. So obviously they're going after some different dudes that Harry didn't think that obviously he didn't want. So really would love to get into that. And I already jotted a note. We'll definitely get into that. And then we're another week away when spring ball starts, 22nd. So, and then we have something next week, Mike, the St. Patty's Day, right? So
yeah.
That's
just next Wednesday? No, it's Friday.
No, it's Friday when all the 25 offers will start to go out. So that'll be fun.
They haven't offered many. They've offered just like 10, 20, 25 players. They will get up to like 80 in one day.
Yeah. Well, they're being smart. There's exactly. You offer the few, and then I'm sure they're talking to those guys behind the scenes like, hey, we're offering you, but let us just blow this up on Twitter. It's a lot more fun. So it's a smart thing that Notre Dame started here the last couple of years.
All righty, Tim. Appreciate your time tonight. And folks watching on YouTube, please do hit that thumbs up before you get out of here. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, as always, for more content and podcast audience. Hope you leave us a kind review wherever you get your podcasts. Please head to blueandgold.com for all your Notre Dame coverage. I'm Mike Singer. He's Tim Hyde. And as always, folks, we will catch you next time.